Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been doing well. As you can see on the screen, yes, we do have the Beast Deities Xicor in hand today and ready to review. Now, this guy is actually going to be releasing about mid-June according to 5K Toys, so if you ordered from there, keep an eye on their page for updates. Of course, it is sold out right now, but that doesn't mean it's gone forever. Usually they have their open stock sales, a couple weeks out after they get their shipment. So just stay tuned with that. Otherwise, if you are interested, you can look on AliExpress for various, retailers who have it. That is how I decided to get mine a little bit early because they get theirs direct from China. And I usually use Figure Model 02 Store or Figure Model Store. They're both kind of one and the same, so you can use either. Now, without further ado, let's just jump straight into this review. All right, so first things first, we got to talk about the aesthetic and the majestical presence of Xicor here. Now, first thing to say is I do recognize that it is a little bit different from the render, obviously, in terms of the color scheme. The green, at least for the undershirts, as well as the wristbands, I think are about accurate. It should be a little bit darker. But for the actual base gi itself, it's supposed to be a lot more of a darker shade of green that's more matte than it is more of like a light shiny color. And, I don't know, if that was an intentional change or if that's just how it came out when they started doing production for it. But it still looks pretty good. Of course, if you need to, you can repaint it if you want. But as it stands, I still think it's pretty good. And I mean, we'll have to see if Demoniacal Fit comes out with theirs or not. There's been no progress updates, no photos or anything, so we really don't know. But I would like to assume if they do actually put it out, that it'll be more in line with the colors you guys are looking for. Now, the boots this time around feel a lot better. All right, the articulation there in the ankles feels way better. Handling feels way better. And I don't have the actual Super Saiyan 3 reissues, so I can't really compare those together. But I'd like to assume that it's basically the same thing there. And the bodies are more or less a little bit stronger in that regard. And because this isn't holding a Super Saiyan 3 hair, it's obviously going to function a lot better. But I haven't experienced any issues with the arms falling off at the bicep or the wrist pegs popping out at the actual wristband. So I gotta say, so far, it's really, really good. One thing I do want to talk about really quick that you have been noticing with newer releases is this new peg system. Now you'll see here, you'll be like, oh, you broke it. I actually think that this system is a lot better in terms of having a seamless design, as well as just being able to attach it a little bit better without potentially breaking stuff. Because in a lot of the previous releases from Beast Deities, formerly Kong, I felt like there was a lot of times you had to struggle to put the actual faceplates in and put a lot of pressure, which can either warp the faceplate or break the actual pegs that go into the holes. So I feel like this is way better. And I actually had like very little, actually let's just say no difficulty at all putting this in here. So very much, I am very excited to see how they continue to do that. And I mean, we've got next up, I believe it's either going to be Vegeta or it's going to be those Gokus. And they're also going to probably, at least the Vegetas I know, are probably going to be taking a note with this stuff here. As far as the renders go, we've seen. I don't know about the Gokus though. We'll have to see. Those might just be similar to the Goku Black since the mold is more or less the same, but we'll have to see, like I said. Anywho, let me get into breaking down these boxes so we can see all these cool accessories. And additionally, just so you can see, there are pegs here in the back, and you can attach them there. And there we go. And then there is a little slot right there, which you can maybe kind of see, hopefully. And then here we have on the front bang, there's that little slot you insert into the hole there. And it's just a much more seamless design. It feels a lot better. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect every time, at least talking about this one here. You can kind of see a little bit of gappage, but in comparison to their other stuff, it's just way better. And I mean, the Super Saiyan 3s, if you've seen them, just look way, way better. All right, and here we have the new Super Saiyan 3 looking off to the side face plate that comes with Xicor. Alright, so we've got this Super Saiyan Xicor head sculpt, and we've got a faceplate looking off to the side. And honestly, I mean, I'm glad that they included a whole nother form for him, even though it's just really a repaint. I have no idea if they're going to continue doing more variations of him. You know, originally, when we were getting wind of this happening, 5P Toys kind of made us think that it was going to go on and we're going to get more forms than we think, like a Super Saiyan 5 Xicor and all that stuff. Personally, I don't think we need all that because I don't need more reason to spend money. That's just the truth of it. But honestly, I think that it's a good stopping point because there is a whole plethora of things that I think Beast Deities has plans for, and it can't just be the same, you know, character with a different form every time. It does have to start moving into some other different territories, like we're getting the Broly, and then hopefully soon we'll see a Cumber tease eventually after we get these Vegetas and these Gokus out. So I do like that direction. But yeah, let me take out the other faceplate and then we'll move on. All right, and here we have the stern expression. Not too bad. Now, I know it could have drove the price up. I mean, I actually really don't know if the hardcore need to be pricing them this high, but I feel like he could have just came with the standard set of faceplates as well for his Super Saiyan form. You know, yelling and gritting teeth as well included. If you're gonna do 2 faces, you might as well just do 4 and just call it a day. Again, that's why I kind of feel like the Super Saiyan 3 faceplate isn't necessary as part of this set, and they could have just included it with the actual figure, but that's my opinion. Let's move on and look at all of the base Xicor faceplates. Alright, so out the packaging, as you saw already, we have our smiling expression, grinning, looking very mischievous, devious, majestical. All right, here we go. We've got our stern expression. You can kind of tell it's starting to pop out a little bit there. I don't really like that too much now that I'm looking at it, but again, it depends. I don't know if it's just the angles or what. Or maybe I have to fully disassemble the hair, the bangs each time I want to put the faceplate on to make sure that it's staying in place, because it did look a little bit better, I feel, in the beginning. And I mean, I guess it depends like the point of view too, because if I look on the camera, I can clearly see that. But if I look like in person, it doesn't look as bad there. So I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Do you feel like that's way too noticeable of a gap there? Or what? All right, on to the next. Here we have our gritting teeth expression. Not too bad. And lastly, we have our yelling expression. Now, onto the main attraction here. We've got this new blast effect from them, and honestly, this thing is pretty sick. I'm not really sure if I put it in correctly. The traditional Kamehamehas that we do get from Tamashii, for example, I'm really not a fan of the whole, you know, blast pieces being different peg sizes, if that makes sense. Like, I'm sure that there's some simpler way that they could do it where you don't have to worry about matching it up to the particular shape, and I guess that could be called a little lazy, but I feel like I shouldn't have to sit there and think about a puzzle piece for a blast effect. Like, the way that they did it for GT Kid Goku is kind of how I would like to just see it done, because it attaches way faster and way easier. So yeah, looks pretty good. We'll pose it up with Xicor at the end of the video. Let's move on to looking at the rest of the hands, and then we'll get into the articulation. First things first, fist hands, and of course, these hands are really just going to be the same as all the other hands we've pretty much gotten. It's just gonna have these little black spikes on the knuckles. That is quite literally it. Nothing about him is super crazy in terms of that design. But yeah, let's move on. I'll probably just do a quick swipe through all the hands and then we'll move on. All right, so we've made it to the articulation segment of this video, finally. Let's start off with the standard head. Let's see how far he can go up without the bangs popping out. A little bit of gappage there, but not too bad. Not like the Goku Blacks, I feel, but looking down, not too bad. A little bit of gappage there. Yeah, I feel like that's always gonna. Hold on, let's see. Okay, so it's just the faceplate popping out, but I do feel like there's always gappage with the Beast Deities figures, and I don't know if that's gonna change. It's very wide in there, that gap for the neck. They don't need to make it that wide, but hey, it's been a trend so far. Now, let's look at the arms. Take it very, very carefully because I do not want to break him. Not trying to buy like 6 over, you know. So we can get in that T-pose fairly easily. He's got the bicep swivel, and again, put a little strain on there and it's not popping out. He's got his bend at the elbow, full 90 degrees. Now, I know a lot of people seem to have issues with the Beast Deities wrist pegs. These so far, in changing out the actual peg, it feels a lot better. I don't know if it's just because the package, when I got it, it was, you know, it's been warm today. It's warm out here. It's summertime. And maybe it's just very, not loose, but easy to change. If that, you know, the weather has anything to do with it. But I have not had an issue swapping them out. The last time when I got the Goku Blacks, I broke the Goku Black hand peg. And unfortunately, I did not get a replacement part for that. I just kind of sucked it up. So I feel like this time around it is stronger, and I don't know if the hands are a little bit more flexible in terms of, you know, when you take them out, it's not too tight in there or what, but it feels a lot better. I don't know how else to put it. It just feels better overall. But for the articulation, standard wrist swivel there, and that's about as far back as he can go with the wrist, about as far forward. So I feel like it's gotten better for sure. Again, I'm glad to see improvements where possible. And of course, they still have this rubber here, and I actually really do like that. The fact that they're also able to keep the kind of consistency here with the colors to the rubber, it's pretty nice. So next up, we got to test this ab crunch here. Now, their figures are pretty much based off of the superhero Gohan for the most part, so it's not going to be anything too crazy. Of course, you're going to have to take advantage of the crotch piece if you really want to do anything just like any other 3.0 figure these days, but yeah, it's okay. Legs, kick up all the way, 90 degrees, and then some. Got your full extend there at the thigh, full twist. So far, so good. Nothing's breaking on me during the video. That's actually the best part of this for sure. Let's talk about the ankles though. Now, I don't know what it is, but Beast Deities and both Demoniacal Fit like to do this thing where they block off the articulation in the ankles. I don't know why. There's like this little piece right here, and on the other releases, it was way bigger for whatever reason. Now, as you can see, on this side, that is non-existent. On this side, there is a piece of it right there. I don't know why that is. I wish I had an answer, but there's no reason you need to have it like that. It just blocks the articulation. It could be an error on their part, but they haven't corrected it yet, so I don't know. But I feel like there's no reason to limit it. At the end of the day, their strive should be for what Legendary Super Saiyan Goku and some of the other 3.0 figures have with their feet. If they're using boots, is to just basically have a kind of ball peg hinge that kind of is free moving a little bit in there. I don't know if they'll ever get to that level, but that is, I think, what they need to strive for, because while this is better overall compared to their first releases, and even maybe to the Goku Black, it still needs improvement. It's getting better, but it needs improvement. You know, he can actually bend his foot without it feeling like I have to put hot water or physically use my muscles to do that. And he can bend normally there. Not all the way, but a lot better than any of the other releases so far, in my opinion. And he does have his toe hinge. So overall, I mean, I've got to say it's a vast improvement over some of the other bodies. Again, I don't have the Super Saiyan 3s to compare, but I'd like to assume that it's more or less the same. Yeah, I believe there is one more thing I want to do, so I'm going to get him posed up. We'll get our closing thoughts, and we'll conclude. Alright, so I've hit the conclusion of this video. Final thoughts on this Beast Deities Xicor. I definitely think it's worthwhile to get. I know it's probably a bit expensive. Honestly, the Beast Deity stuff is expensive these days. In comparison to especially their older releases, it is. But this feels like one of those once-in-a-lifetime moments where if you really are invested in that series, you might as well go for it. We do have, Demon Idol Fit on the sidelines potentially doing it, but nothing's ever confirmed with them, right? Like, we don't even know if they still want to do the Super Saiyan 5 Goku that they teased a long time ago, and even had pre-orders go up very shortly for. And that was a whole drama between Tablos and Possessed Horse and AliExpress shops. But here, we have an actual figure available that you can get in hand now, that can really just make your dreams come to life. And the fact that we're in an age where we can get these fan-made figures is wild. I know a lot of people are not really interested in them, but for the people that are, it's there. And you never know when the next time it'll come. So if you're a collector, you're interested in Dragon Ball AF, or Xicor is just your dude, go for it. It's one heck of a figure. It's got, things that it could be improved, but comparing it to everything that's come out before it, it is up there. It feels very, very well in hand. The quality is so much better. The plastic feels good. I haven't had any quality control problems that I feel are super detrimental to the figure. The only thing I would complain about is, one, that blast effect, and two, the bangs. So I don't know what it is, but maybe you have to really take everything apart. You have to take the faceplate out, the bangs out, separate them, and then put it all back together individually in order for it to really not feel like it's popping out. But it depends on the view. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the angles. And I feel like that it is getting better with the seamless look, and this does feel a lot better, don't get me wrong. But I did notice that a lot more as I started to actually mess with it. So that is a thing. As for the blast effect, I do like it. I love the colors. I love the effect, the design of it. However, as you can kind of see there, and I'll just zoom in, it's got that peg sticking out a little bit. It doesn't feel like it was made to fit that peg. I don't know why. Maybe I have to heat it up. Maybe I have to drill into it a little bit more. I don't know. But I've squeezed the thing in there so many times just for it to slide back out. And that's probably going to sound so crazy saying that. But yeah, it is stuck on there. It does work to a degree, but it's not fully in the peg hole, if that makes sense. So that's a minor complaint. But again, these are not things that are super detrimental to the figure that I feel like are reasons to pass on it. Right now, if you're trying to get it shipped to you now, AliExpress, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is the way to go for that. Get their products directly from China. For the retailers that are obviously invested in getting this stuff, that's what happens. And they've already started shipping this stuff out. This figure actually released in China already like a few weeks ago, so that's why you've already been seeing photos fly around. In that case, when you do start seeing things early fly around like that, you're wondering, where's 5K Toys with my figure? 5K Toys usually takes the slowest option, I feel, to get their products delivered to their warehouse, which is shipping by sea, sea parcel or whatever it's called, where they've got to have it go through the cargo boats, and it takes, I don't know, a month to come by sea, and then they get it. So I do think it's worthwhile to wait for 5K Toys though. It's usually cheaper. So yeah, that's my advice. But anyways, yeah, I absolutely love this thing. Wish the effect piece just fit in better. And the hair I can get by, for now at least. Maybe someday I'll start complaining about it. But yeah, again, minor choices I would have liked to see, just to touch back. Include all the faces for that Super Saiyan head, because honestly, I'm not really trying to buy extra faceplates for him later on or have to go through third parties to do it. Like, for example, the HMYR guy that's doing the Vegito stuff and the Gogeta stuff and the Super Saiyan 3 faceplates that are basically a fourth party for a third party. This sounds so wild to say. I don't want to have to buy those if they do something like that, for example. I would just like to have all those faceplates present, because if you're going to include the option, you might as well give it to us. And that goes for Tamashii as well. Tamashii needs to start doing that as well. If you give us a base head, at least give us the same amount of heads you gave us for the actual sculpt that was mainly for the set. If you're not going to plan to give us any face sculpts for that other head sculpt anytime soon. And I'm looking at you, future Trunks. But anywho, that has been the review. Thank you guys for stopping by. I will catch you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be another review or some news updates. We did get some new stuff from Black Hole Toys recently, so excited to talk about that. Anywho, I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.